I'll show you my notes. If you could help lower the number of deaths from the #1 killer of Americans, would you? According to Williams' Med-Surg of Nursing, the #1 killer of Americans is heart disease. Although many causes of heart disease are out of our control, blood pressure is one that is really within our control. As a nurse, I see benefits of monitoring blood pressure regularly, meaning weekly or monthly. Sometimes you can nip it in the bud that a blood pressure is going too high, and this could really keep from damaging the heart in the future. According to the demographic survey of LTC speech class, 85% of the class does not get a regular checkup, meaning within 6 months. Most are over a year. This really could put damage on your heart without even knowing it. You could have high blood pressure for an extended period of time and not even know what it's doing to you. We have the benefit of being able to check our blood pressure in the personal space of our own home. But it's important that we know what kind of equipment is available and how that we can use it to take an accurate reading. We are going to discuss some kinds of blood pressure equipment, how to perform a manual blood pressure reading, and also how a simple test can really save your lives. There are different types of blood pressure equipment out there. You have the simple wrist cuff that is very easy to use, but according to Leifer's pediatric maternity nursing, this is really the least accurate way. You also have the professional equipment that are used at hospitals and skilled nursing units. It's a monitor that's hooked to a blood pressure cuff that allows you to put it on a main artery, press a simple button, and it reads it automatically. This is also not as accurate as the old-fashioned manual blood pressure cuff and stethoscope. Taking a blood pressure manually definitely takes some practice, but after you learn a few skills, you can put it into practice and you will be able to take an accurate reading. You need to know what kind of equipment that you need. First, you need a good stethoscope that you can listen and you can actually hear out of. And you need a blood pressure cuff. You need one that fits the person's arm that you're going to be doing it on. When you put the blood pressure cuff on, you don't want it too tight and you don't want it too loose, so you want it to fit just right. With just these two simple equipment, that's all you need to take your accurate reading. First thing you want to do is put the blood pressure cuff on the person's arm. You want them to hold their arm flat, put the cuff on, and it's self-explanatory. It shows you with an arrow where to put the blood pressure cuff. He's going to go onto the brachial artery, so you're going to put it up the arm approximately 1 to 2 inches from the shoulder and make sure the arrow is facing the brachial artery, which is in the inner elbow. Next, you want to take your stethoscope, put it in your ears, and put the bell on the brachial artery. You want to make sure that you can hear that pumping. Once you hear that pumping, you know you're all set to continue on. Make sure you can see the dial in your hand and it's at 0 and that the cuff is totally deflated. Now turn your knob to clockwise so that it's totally locked. You're going to pump it up between 170 and 200. This is about the average for most people. So pump it up to, I'm going to say 200 right now, all the way up. Once you get it up to there, you're going to then take the knob, slowly turn it to counterclockwise, and allow some air to come out. Keep doing this until you hear a thump. When you hear that thump, that's your systolic number. Remember that or write that down. After you have that number, continually to slowly release the air until you hear your last thump. And there's no more thumping. That is your diastolic number. Put that number down as well or remember it. Once you have these two numbers, you're able to take off your blood pressure cuff and you're finished. And now you have your blood pressure reading. You have your systolic over your diastolic number. It's important to remember that the most healthy range for blood pressure is 120/80 or even lower. So when reading your blood pressure, think of that. in conclusion, there are many tests that we can do at home. We can't do at home. We can't check our heart. We can't check our blood. However, we can do something simple as checking our blood pressure. Checking our blood pressure in between doctor's visits helps the doctor to really see what our average blood pressure reading is and can really diagnose a problem early. Hypertension, or high blood pressure as is known as a silent killer because there's often no symptoms, and it's often too late. By the time that we're diagnosed, irreparable damage has already been done. Learning the skill of taking your blood pressure and teaching your family members is really a simple way to check the status of your health. So if you have the skills at the tips of your fingers to prevent a heart attack, stroke, or even early death, wouldn't you want to use it? By checking your blood pressure and the ones that you love, you can really help lower the statistics of heart disease being the #1 killer of Americans.